Follow a journey sparked by survival. Enter hidden worlds forged by history. Explore lands fused by culture. Touch the spirit sharpened by experience. Come face to face with true masters inside the deadly arts. Okinawa Island, Japan. The largest in a chain of islands located just off the coast of China, Okinawa was for centuries part of a semi-independent kingdom. In spite of being occupied many times by the Chinese, then the Japanese, and finally by the Americans, the island marches to a beat of its own. Proud people, the Okinawans found it within themselves to rebuild after being almost completely annihilated at the end of the Second World War. Martial artist with 25 years of experience, Josette Normando is here in Okinawa, karate's birthplace, to train with the arts masters. She wants to gain an understanding of karate that goes beyond the high kicks and board breaking of Hollywood lore. Karate comes from the Japanese words kara, meaning empty, and te, meaning hand. It is a fierce combination of explosive close-quarter attacks and counterattacks, demanding intense, even brutal training.
C'est un monde extrêmement exigeant.
Karate in Okinawa is a closed, male-dominated world. I don't know if I will be accepted in it. I just have to train hard and hope I will be.
Josette's first stop in Naha, the capital of Okinawa, is a fitting one. The Budokan is a martial arts complex found in every major Japanese city. Here at the Budokan, it is the final day of an international competition. Josette is here to meet a fellow Canadian.
Allô. Josette, comment ça va?
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Ça va bien? Bienvenue. Bienvenue à Okinawa. Ça va? Oui, ça va bien.
A five-time world champion in musical kata, an eighth dan or eighth degree black belt in karate, Jean Frenette is also a stunt coordinator and second unit director for major Canadian and American films.
Jean invited me to the Budokan because he wants me to see that much of today's karate has become. Competition for competition's sake. For many, it's just about prizes and awards. But for Jean and for me, the meaning of karate lies elsewhere.
According to some, the underlying goal of karate is karate-do, the combination of body, mind, and spirit to achieve personal enlightenment. In Japanese, the path to achieving this state is called the do, the way. Here in Okinawa, the do remains the meaning of the art.
In the past, I fought in tournaments, but here I have set myself a different kind of challenge. To train in karate, Okinawa style. I'll select a single kata to study intensely, using it as a benchmark for my progress. A kata is a rigidly defined series of movements that a person performs against an invisible opponent. Through repeated practice, kata unifies body, mind, and spirit. Perhaps, if you're lucky, you can once in a lifetime achieve a moment of enlightenment through a perfect performance.
After several days of cross-training with Jean Frenette, Josette is anxious to begin a real training.
Go, 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 viens là!
She needs to find a succession of senseis, or masters, to train her in Okinawa karate and specifically in the particular kata she selects. Okinawan karate is different from the mainland Japanese style that Josette is used to, and she must adapt to its technical variations. Jean suggests Tsuneo Kinjo, a 7th Dan sensei, to introduce her to the basics of traditional Okinawan karate. When his master passed away, Kinjo sensei took over the running of the school, the Tokumura Dojo, out of a sense of duty and obligation. Like many of the Okinawan senseis, he has a day job. Nevertheless, most nights, Kinjo sensei can be found teaching at his dojo or training hall.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
For her first class with Kinjo sensei, Josette knows to bring a gift, part of a time-honored tradition and a strict requirement when being welcomed into a sensei's dojo.
Just like every new kid in class, I want to hide in the back, keep a low profile and hope everything will turn out fine. Then I feel Kinjo sensei coming up behind me. Things I've learned for years need to be altered, adapted. Mon Dieu, what a lot to do. It seems like every time I turn around, Kinjo sensei is there, correcting me, pushing me in a new direction. Just when I think I'm finally off the hook, Kinjo sensei stops everyone and calls me to the front of the class.
What do you feeling?
What's my feeling?
Yes. 今気持ち聞いてるから。
Well, I'm very happy to have my first real class here in Okinawa.
沖縄に来て初めてこっちに一緒にやって。
And hopefully, by the end of my stay, I will have learned from all of you karate and Japanese.
ここにいる間、私は空手とそして日本語を学ぶんですと。
はい、どうもありがとうございます。
はい、どうも、はい、お疲れ様でした。
The Fukushuen Garden, in the heart of downtown Naha, symbolizes the close historical and cultural ties between Okinawa and China. In the late 1400s, the king of Okinawa, Shoshin, confiscated the weapons of the local people. This forced the Okinawans to seek other forms of self-defense. For the next 500 years, many Okinawans traveled to China where the martial arts had flourished for centuries. Although there are no written records, it is believed that these early travelers brought a variety of empty-handed fighting skills back to Okinawa, skills that would evolve into the modern art of karate.
As I block and block and block, I feel my forearms being crushed by the constant blows, and I look forward to the relief the end of the class will bring. But I get the feeling Kinjo sensei has something else in store for me.
One training method, known as Ojo Undo, uses items common to farmers to strengthen various parts of the body. This maneuver is being done with jars called nigirigame that weigh 9 kilos, almost 20 pounds each.
There is no lip on those jars, and he's holding them by his fingertips. He makes it look easy, but I know that under his white karate gi, every muscle is straining.
Can you comment? Can you?
My enjoyment ends when I realize that Kinjo sensei wants me to give it a try. I have no idea if I'll be able to pick up these things, let alone move with them.
Josette is finding out that Ojo Undo, the karate exercises that use traditional tools as weights, is just as hard as it looks.
These karatekas, or practitioners, can afford modern gym equipment. But in Okinawa, the senseis are striving to preserve their heritage by training with traditional tools. I'm hoping these exercises will help prepare me for the higher level training still to come. The chishi, a stick fixed to a weight like a millstone, has worked for centuries as a training tool, and they see no reason to change it now. The ishisashi, an ancient stone door locks, is used to build striking power. The only problem is you have to be built like a bull to do it. Speaking of being built like a bull, the tan, a look-alike barbell built like an axle with wheels, becomes a plaything in the hands of Kinjo sensei. But it's a serious piece of equipment. The tan strengthens the forearms and wrist to improve grip and grabbing techniques. If I have any doubts about how hard any of this is, I just have to listen to Kinjo sensei's groan as he finishes.
Oh. Yes, sir. Okay.
Because Kinjo sensei focused so much attention on me, I feel like I owe something to his students for being so patient.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
And it's in absolute harmony to discover a sensei's inner child as well. Because my hands were too small to grip the jars, Kinjo sensei brings me to Aragaki sensei to order 2 nigirigami training jars of my own. Aragaki sensei is one of the few remaining master jar makers on the island.
Is this like a craft that is passed on from father to son to father?
Yes. 16
generations?
generations. So almost 400 years.
Does he make often jars
Yes.
for karate people?
Yes, sometimes he make order.
Yes,
order.
make
He make
order for
big and small.
grip size.
Yes. Usually man is 10 kilogram one jar.
Woman.
Woman is 女性はだいたい
もっと小さいのがいいね。
もう小さいの
6キロぐらい。
6キロぐらい about this size 6 kilo 人が海のことも勉強になりまして
はい。じゃあ
どうも今日はありがとうございましたじゃあまたお願いします Very nice people, yeah? Yes. So special Hachigami make for us.
Finally, I have my own nigirigami jars, perfect for my grip size. No more excuses. I'm trying to keep my back straight and my arms from swinging. With each step, I have to dig into the soil with my toes to stay solidly grounded. Of course, I may never feel my fingers again.
With body conditioning and basic training well underway, Josette asks Jean to help her choose a challenging kata. Instead, Jean suggests going out for a bite.
Jean wants me to meet Shinzo Chinen, a master chef who owns an izakaya or bistro. But that's not all Chinen sensei is a master of.
Shinen Sensei, a highly respected 8th dan specializing in kata training, is currently a referee for the All Japan Karate Do Federation.
Shinen Sensei greets Jean like an old friend and seems very warm and approachable. But I'm not sure we can ask a sensei for his help over dinner, especially when he's the cook. Jean tells me not to worry.
We need your help. Huh? For guidance for Josette. She's going to be training in kata, and at some point, you know, when time is possible for you to train a little bit Josette, then guide her in her kata. Okay. Huh? Hey.
I thought it would be harder than this.
Several days later, Josette gets a call from Shinen Sensei to come to the Budokan, where she'll get to choose a new kata.
What Shinen Sensei didn't tell me is that today I will be practicing with some of the top senseis on the island. Although I still don't know most of the Okinawan katas, Jean has taught me the breathing katas that are performed at the beginning and at the end of each training session.
In the breathing kata, one's inner energy is focused on hardening the body, creating armor to protect the stomach, kidneys, and other vital organs. Senseis believed that they would inevitably suffer damage in battle and must train to absorb blows as well as avoid them.
This is the opportunity I have to see the different katas performed by the masters themselves. This is also my chance to select a kata for myself.
As she prepares to choose a kata, Josette is about to become part of a tradition that dates back centuries, when the Chinese began to develop a method of defending themselves by imitating the fighting tactics of animals. Over time, these tactics were developed into the choreographed moves of the Okinawan kata.
To better understand Okinawa karate, I have to learn all its basic kata. But I also want to choose a specific one to focus on during my stay. As I attempt to perfect its movements, I will be able to mark my progress. I need to find a kata that suits me. The Seunchin kata performed by Shinen Sensei captures my imagination. It has big moves that are well suited to my long legs, and I can see a feminine grace in this kata's sweeping arcs and smooth postures. I like this, and I also like those things here. It's beautiful, and you know, like. Well, I think I like the little house, the kata that Shinen Sensei was just showing me back at the end. I find it very beautiful, but I still have to work a lot on my basic. It's very frustrating because a lot of things that I should be. Oh, I guess I have to go there. Bye.
The Makishi Fish Market at 5:30 in the morning is already a hub of activity. Wholesale buyers for restaurants and stores are here to bid on fish fresh off the boat.
I knew if I got up early enough, I could watch Chinen-sensei pick up the best of the day's catch and maybe learn something about the famous Okinawan diet. But my secret goal is to ask him to help me with the first step of my kata training, memorizing and internalizing each of its moves. As we look for a place to train in the Sueyoshi Park, we run into some local men and women. Sampling some of their fresh-picked herbs, I ponder the Okinawans' fame longevity. What do they know I don't?
Many Okinawans live well into their 90s and 100s. Their diet includes fresh fish, fresh vegetables, seaweed, tofu, green tea, and plenty of exercise. Rates of cancer and heart disease are among the lowest in the world.
Same. Back.
As Josette begins the first step of memorizing the intricate moves of the Seiunshin kata, Shinen-sensei reminds her to practice relentlessly until the moves are automatic.
Then pull back. Then 45. Chudan uke. Then uke. Back. Side. Then kake uke. Right. Chudan. Then same time.
Learning a kata is quite difficult because it's hard to even make a slight improvement.
Yeah, like this. Something like that. Then pull back. Okay. Kind. Then kake uke.
Here.
Yeah. Right. Then same time. Right.
Shinen-sensei reminds me to stay focused to the very end, but the end isn't always where you think it is.
High. Then, not finished.
To give me a break, Jean has prepared a surprise visit to an unusual sensei. I wonder what does he mean, unusual?
As the summer heat and humidity push even higher in Naha, the pressure on Josette is also rising. Now halfway through her stay in Okinawa, Josette must bear down and greatly intensify her training if she is to bring her kata to the next level. The Okinawa Jundokan is the mecca of karate, with the biggest dojo on the island and a truly international reputation. Here at the headquarters of Goju Ryo Karate, there are no formal classes per se. Black belts work independently with each other, always under the watchful eye of a sensei.
The bottom line at the Jundokan is that you are expected to have the discipline to push yourself beyond your limits. Now that I have memorized the kata's moves, it's time for the second step in my training. I will have to break my kata down into explosive sequences and practice them over and over. The great thing about training at the Jundokan is that black belts look out for each other. There are so many experts, it's not hard to find someone to coach you. After spending so many nights training in the steamy heat of the Jundokan, it's nice to get outside. Jean Frenet told me that if I want my surprise, I should look for him in the Sueyoshi Park.
Oh, hey, Josette, how are you? Remember Sarah Sensei? Remember Josette from Isakaya?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Hey, hey. Welcome, Josette.
What are you doing?
Training.
training. Karate training.
Looking at Tara Sensei's training method. He's focusing more on that short distance of explosion. Yeah, look at the distance. Look at the two.
My
だ
ribs.
からこう。これはこうだから。バー
Boom, bang. Yeah. It's a double technique.
これをだから
Yeah,
これなんでしょ。
that's it. Can't
カウンター
punch.
カウンター。
Yeah. Hey, hey. Yeah. See?
It won't even move.
So basically,
This is how Taira Sensei develops and practices his kata, using a tree for an opponent. Apparently, there is a method to his madness. Smashing yourself against a tree is really taking Okinawan training methods to a different level. But Taira Sensei, who is also an undercover police officer, is undergoing this brutal training with a specific goal in mind. I guess his life depends on it.
thanks for
ああ、
helping.
you can.
Jean had a good reason for introducing me to Taira Sensei. It turns out that Taira Sensei is an expert in bunkai, the application of the attacks and counterattacks of a kata against an actual opponent. He is demonstrating how my chosen kata can work in real combat situation. Bunkai makes the kata more real. When I return to practicing my kata, bunkai training will help me to visualize my opponent. Although I have been treated with great courtesy by the Okinawan karatekas, even after all these weeks of training together, it's hard for them to forget the fact that I am a woman.
はい、先生どうぞ。
My translator and friend Leslie June Lacan suggests a girls' night out. After being surrounded by only men for so long, I jumped at the chance. She brings me to the Yotsudake restaurant to see a traditional dance performance called Karate Buyo.
The beauty of Buyo dance lies in part in its portrayal of restrained emotions. These women subtly transmit their feelings to the audience through their movements, their singing, and the music that accompanies them.
Who is this woman? It's a surprise to see someone performing a kata during a dance show. But this woman's power and grace are out of the ordinary. I've got to meet her. Leslie tells me the performer is Ogido Sensei, a master of Karate Buyo choreographies inspired by karate and kobudo, the weaponry art of Okinawa.
Karate Buyo only dates back to the 1950s, but Ogido Sensei's performance is rooted in a far more ancient Okinawan martial art, kobudo.
At the end of the show, I asked Ogido Sensei if I might train with her and her group of women who dance so gracefully tonight.
You have a lucky chance. She says she's accepted to teach you.
When the Japanese assumed control over Okinawa in the 17th century, they maintained the ban of the sword that had been imposed by King Shoshin. There are very few historical records about kobudo because the art has been transmitted from master to disciple for centuries, mostly in secrecy. To protect themselves from pillagers, the Okinawans started to use farming tools as effective weapons. This practice became known as the art of kobudo, a testament to the Okinawans' fierce determination to preserve their way of life. Another symbol of that determination is the Shurijo castle. The original Shurijo, that was completely destroyed during World War II, dated back to the early 15th century. The present-day Shurijo is a replica, painstakingly rebuilt stone by stone. This is the place Ogido Sensei has chosen for her Karate Buyo class.
Ogido Sensei. Hi, おはようございます。おはようございます。
ちょっと待ってよ。そうそうそう、かっこいいよ、ブーよく。これちゃんと捕まえてね。これまず。グー、オッケー。はい。はい。
Can I do one more with you?
1, 2, 3.
Some of the moves in karate and karate buyo look quite similar. Learning these new katas on the spot should help me with my concentration. It's nice to be surrounded by a group of women. There is a different kind of energy.
But she said, yeah, it is very difficult sometimes to penetrate into this men's world. But she would never think, oh, you know, I'm not as good as them. Because if you have that feeling, then you might as well give up. Yeah.
You lost.
Yeah, you're dead.
So.
Ladies are great, ladies are strong, which I also agree to. I think is very true.
I agree.
Because mental strength comes before physical strength, I've asked Jean to take me to a Zen master for a meditation class called Zazen. To me, a kata is a moving meditation, and I am sure that Zazen will help me to develop self-discipline and mental tranquility.
Sojin Sakiwama is a Zen master, a Roshi, a title equivalent to the one of sensei. As a young man, He practiced karate for 12 years before turning to Zen practice. The Roshi has been studying Zen Buddhism ever since.
You might not think that Zazen has anything to do with karate, but I now see how it will help me to improve my composure, perfect my posture, and regulate my breathing.
Meditation practitioners ask to receive stick blows to their upper back to help them stay focused and avoid dozing off. These blows give a jolt of energy that keeps them alert during sessions that can last more than an hour.
Okay, I'm almost in his face.
Yeah, in fact, you are in his face. You're here.
Okay, so,
Yes, you hit him right here.
okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Since the start of my training here at the Jundokan, I've practiced with some of the most skilled senseis on the island. But this is my first opportunity to meet the highest ranking master at the Jundokan, Iya Sensei.
Iha Sensei is the leader of the Goju Ryo karate world. At 80 years old, this 10th Dan Sensei still goes to the dojo every day. With his numerous years of practice, Iha Sensei ensures that the memory and the tradition of Karate-do live on. This living legend considers that the link between the past and the future is embodied in the accurate teaching of kata.
Iya Sensei may be short in height, but is a giant. Nothing gets by him, not even the wrong position of my thumb. My stay in Okinawa is almost over, and one thought fills me with anticipation and dread. After all the hard work and all the efforts of my teachers, soon I will have to perform my kata for Iya Sensei.
Soon, Josette will get the chance to perform her kata for Okinawan top master Iha Sensei. But first, she pays a visit to the master's home.
In Japan, it's an honor to be invited to someone's house, so I feel privileged. Knowing that Iya Sensei has witnessed the evolution of karate throughout the 20th century, I want to ask him about the impact World War II had on Okinawa and the martial art. Iya Sensei tells me that he was frail as a boy, so his father suggested he study karate to be able to defend himself. When he was about 15 years old, he started to practice on a regular basis.
How old were you?
Sensei, before the war, pre-war.
だから10
18, 17?
17
17.
And then the war began.
The Battle of Okinawa between Japanese and American forces began on April 1st, 1945. During the 3-month battle, most of the island was destroyed and over 200,000 people were killed. During the following years, all efforts were put into rebuilding the island. A US-imposed ban on all martial arts meant the end of karate for a while.
Before the war was over, Iya-sensei had lost his father and a brother. Iya-sensei's mother saved some family photos, hiding them in her kimono after the house was destroyed. As I look at this smiling face, it's impossible for me to fathom what Iya-sensei may be thinking. In spite of the rain, we keep on working the same moves. Though my mind keeps returning to Iya-sensei and his experiences during the war, gradually, I begin to lose myself in the repetition of the exercise. To be corrected by Iya-sensei is exciting but stressful. Because I'm not one of his regular students, it is also a great honor. I want to make sure I remember everything he tells me. I don't want to disappoint him, and this makes me put more pressure on myself. Iya-sensei takes Leslie and I to the Okinawa War Memorial. It is only the second time he has come here since the war ended. When I ask him what it feels like to see the names of his father and brother on these stones, his answer is simple. My sorrow is no more important than anyone else's whose loved ones' names are written here.
Usually Okinawa has all the red roofs, so for him red is the color of Okinawa. But when he came back there was no red, no green.
It was here, in the summer of 1945, that 2 Japanese officers committed the ritualistic suicide called seppuku to take responsibility for the loss of the Battle of Okinawa. The area became known as Suicide Cliff to the Americans.
Iya-sensei's serenity in the face of his past makes a profound impression on me.
Suddenly, Iya-sensei comes over and watches Rosette's kata.
I could not have foreseen how much Iya-sensei's opinion would matter to me. He is the highest-ranking sensei, but it goes beyond that. He makes me want to feel proud of myself. I have to keep my mind clear and not let fear overwhelm me. I have to be in total emotional and mental control. I knew that I wouldn't perform a flawless kata, but I give it everything I had. Iya-sensei is kind to me. He only corrects 1 or 2 details. He could have corrected me on almost every move I made, but we both know that perfecting a kata takes a lifetime.
Karate was born out of determination. The Okinawans' capacity to adapt to adversity and use karate to maximize their strength is vivid testimony of their resilience.
I have been very fortunate to be able to count on Jean Frenette. Through him, I have met the masters who helped me move towards the Do aspect of karate. Kinjo Sensei, the traditionalist. The master chef, Chinen Sensei. Taira Sensei, the modern warrior. The artist, Ogido Sensei. Sojin Sakiwama Roshi, the Zen master. And finally, Iya Sensei, a great master and witness to a terrible history. Learning a new kata has reinforced my feeling that the more you practice a martial art, the more you realize your limitations. Perhaps understanding this is a part of the Do, especially when you perform a kata. The only answer is to practice relentlessly and then, when the time comes to perform, to enter fully into the moment. My goal as a martial artist is to transcend the daily dimensions of life, to win what the masters win, a touch of invincibility.